Symbol table, right? Yesterday we have discussed about symbol table.
Yes, sir.
How we can create a table, how we can explain this symbol table. Remember, symbol table is required for several purposes. We will see that how the symbol table, this symbol table, will be used in the next option, next one, where is the direct memory addressing mode. Here we are going to use the that symbol table. Okay, so it is better that we have a very clear idea about the symbol table. So is there any question related to the symbol table? We are going to do a practice a symbol table, but let me ask you first, do you have any question? Because this symbol table I was described like 3 to 4 times in the other section, still they have confusion. So how about you? Because yesterday whenever I asked you the question, you didn't answer it properly. So how
maybe practicing it will make us more clear about it.
Okay, right. Of course, I give some code. Based on this code, you are going to have this symbol table. But before that, do you have any question before we do the practice? Let me just very briefly, just let me discuss it again with the 1 minute. Today is 39, he says 39, I think, yeah, it's not. So, symbol table is, we need a symbol table because actually processor needs a symbol table because the processor needs to find the value of the variable more efficiently. Okay, so that is the main intention. And if you remember that this symbol table is very similar to the table of content, where we have a topic name and we have a page number. Here is the same as well. Here in the symbol table, we have the variable name and also corresponding the starting address in the memory block, which is called offset. Okay, so so that is the main intention to have this symbol table, and the user doesn't have any control over this symbol table. It is done by the assembler. So hopefully you know the assembler is the middle software between the assembly language, whatever the user is actually writing, and also with the machine language or machine language instruction. So assembler convert this instruction into machine language instruction, but we know that there are 3 types of statements. So these statements doesn't execute the processor directly because this is a non-executable statement. All right, pseudo ops, or you can say the assembler directives. So these assembler directives not executed directly, but it allocate the memory, it gives the description, or it gives the environment for the processor so that the processor can run the executable instructions smoothly and efficiently and faster way. So that is the main intention for this kind of code. So, so that is a symbol table. So let us discuss that. How does it work, or how we can calculate, because offset needs to be calculated. So let us see how it can be done. We know that these are the value, I mean the definition we have, or declare the variables. First of all, we have a value variable, and it is the first one, and we have DW type. So if you remember this one, that if this is our memory block, let us consider this is our memory block. So in the memory block, each of the block we consider as 1 byte of data or 1 byte of space. So it starts from the zero position, then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, until like that. So obviously it will start from 0. All right. So whenever it starts from 0, that means the offset value of the value will be 0 because it's starting value, it's the starting position. So it is a starting position, but you don't know when it will end. So let us see when it will end. The value will end at how many bytes we need? 2, because it's DW. DW means 2 byte. So that means 0 and 1. These two positions is occupied by the first variable. So when the next variable will start, because we know that assembler allocates the memory serially into the memory block. Serially, so there is no random one, which is good. So whenever we occupy these two positions of the memory, so the next position, the next variable will come into the very next position, which is the 2. That's why, I'm sorry. Where is it? All right. So the next variable, which is the sum, this variable will start from 2, because this is the next possible, first possible place where the next variable sum can start. So let us see that, okay, we know that the sum actually started from 2, but how long? I mean, how big the data is. So sum is actually DD type. DD means double word. Double word means 4 byte. 4 byte means it will occupy 2, 3, 4, and 5. Fifth position of the byte. Remember, these are all byte position, not bit, right? Byte position. So until the 5th byte position, the sum will occupy. So obviously the next variable will start from 6th position. That's why next variable marks, the value offset is 6. Okay, so very good. So the marks start from 6, but how far? That means what is the length of this variable marks? So let us calculate. So you can see that marks is actually an array, because it's written like times. So how many numbers we have in this array, marks? How many elements?
10.
10.
Yes, correct. So we have 10 variables. So we have 10 elements in this marks variable. So, and each of the element, remember, each of the element is DW type, not the entire elements. Each of the 10 elements will be DW type. DW means defined word. That means 2 bytes. Each one is 2 bytes. That means 10 variable will be 10 times 2, 20 bytes. So it requires altogether 20 bytes of space. That is why it starts from 6 and end until 25th. Because all this 20 bit will be occupied by that variable called sum. And not sum, I mean marks. That means the next variable after marks will be starting from 26th position, right? That's why the next variable message starting from 26. That's why it's the offset value is 26. Okay, so now we know that message is starting from 26. Now, until what? Which position or what is the maximum size the message will require? So let us continue and let us calculate again, which is, we know that if it is inverted comma, so within this inverted comma, single inverted comma, everything will be counted as character, including the space. So if you count all these characters, including the space and one colon sign, we can see that there are 13 characters in between these two single quotation. So we need 13 byte, because we know that this is one kind of multiple definition, very similar to this. So if we can write in this way, we can also write in that way as well. Same thing, that means each of the character requires 1 byte of memory space, and each of the number also requires 1 byte of memory space. All right, so instead of writing this way, we also can write that same thing. So, but here the code is written in the simple format this way, no problem. That means 13 characters requires 13 bytes and another number, which is a number, of course, because there is no comma, inverted comma. So it is a number also requires 8 bits of data. So altogether we have 14 bytes of memory space is required for this message variable. So let us see. It was started from 26 and it requires 14 byte of space. So from 26 until 39, it is actually 14 space. Obviously, the next variable will start from 40th byte position. That's why the next variable, character 1, is actually 40, because its starting position is 40. We don't need to calculate that when or how long it will go on what is the size of character 1, because there is no other declaration after this. That is the last declaration. So that's why we don't need to calculate that how far we can go for character 1. Fine. So that's how, and that is the explanation of offset or the symbol table. Remember, this is very similar to the table of content like our book. So the processor also used the same thing. So just use the offset value, because the processor actually knows that this is the memory block. Currently, they are active memory block here. Okay, so if they know where is the memory block, and if you know what is the offset or starting value, it is very easy to get the data from, start reading from this data from that point, instead of looking each of them, which is a faster way to find any data. Fine, so that is the very brief description. And this symbol table, as I said, will be required in the next one. If you understand it very easily and nicely, it's actually interconnected as well. All right, any questions?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
In message part, 0 means initial value, but why we are counting 0 in the 13? I mean, the grade is here 13 bits. So why we are 0 is counting? Cause in
0 is not the initial value. It is the value we are going to declare. For example, this one. These are the values we are actually having, right? Each of them.
Yes, sir.
That means these are the numbers. These are the numbers. Initial value is 0, but this is the number. This is the number what you are going to store. So each of the 0 means that we need one position or one number, which is the DW type in this case. Here as well. 0D, that means is a number, hexadecimal number, which needs to be stored into the message, but it requires 1 byte. So same as here as well. Same as here as well. This is a number which is 0, but you are going to store it into 1 byte of space. This is an initial value 0, which is fine, but you require 1 byte of space to store this value. Don't think that this is the initial value of the message, entire message variable.
Okay, sir.
I understand your question, which is very good question, that sometimes we write 0 as the initial value. Of course, this is also the initial value, but this initial value or this value means that we have a number which is currently initialized 0. So the memory should be allocated for this number, right? This is not a character. This memory should be allocated for this number, and that initial number is 0. So we consider that this 0 considered as a number, initial value of a number, and you should allocate 1 byte of space into the message variable. Fine?
Yes, sir.
Good question.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes.
Sir, is value needs to start always from 0, or can we start from other? We can use 1, 2, or
yeah. You can use. There is no exceptions. There is no exception, but it says that you must have one value, any value. If you look at the common formats, this is the general common formats. Define directives and initial value. So there is no limitation there what should be the initial value. It can be anything. Very similar to your C programming. Whenever you write the initial value, whenever you declare any variable, is there any constraint that you cannot write any initial value?
No, sir.
Same as here. You can start from 0, you can start from 1, you can start from 1000, doesn't matter. Value means always value, initial value, right?
Yes, sir.
Any other question? So we are going to do one practice. We are going to do practice. So I will give you, let me give you one example like this one. I'm going to give you one of this one. You are going to make this. Okay. So let me give me 1 minute. If you don't have any questions, so let us do a practice. Let me switch it off. Let me write it into the text documents. Give me just 1 minute just to copy paste some of the code. Just writing some codes. Fine. Okay. Let me share it. Font. Let me make it bigger. All right. Let us share. So this is your code. Hopefully you can see. Hopefully you can see that. So please make your symbol table. Okay. I just rewrite some of the codes. So make a symbol table for this set of codes. And you must have explanation why. In the meantime, give me 2 minutes. I'll come in soon. 2 minutes. In the meantime, please continue with this one. Everyone I will ask randomly. Okay? Share the screen. So this is our first lecture, which is introduction. It's about okay, done. No, not yet.
So
Rest of you.
no, sir.
Not take that much time. You just need to write 2 columns.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes.
Sir, after message there will be some name. Name. That's if the name will be after message, so we can calculate the message. Message functions of the characters and also the numbers after message.
After message there is nothing.
Yes, nothing. So we cannot calculate the message part, sir.
Up to you. But if you calculate, is there any point to calculate that?
Okay, sir.
Is there any reason that we are going to calculate? If you need this to do this one, you have to. But if you don't, then don't.
Okay.
So you just need to draw that table with the way we have seen so far about the table. Just need to write the name and the offset value. The name should be the variable name we have just discussed here. Mentioned here in the example, and then just the offset value. That's it, nothing else. What actually I need. But whenever you write it in the exam, of course you need to write this table as, of course, with that we have to, explain the reason that why you have this offset value. You must write the reason or explanation that why you have this offset value, right? Not just writing the offset value. I found one interesting thing whenever I'm checking your answer script. Somehow, I mean, not your section, but you will get your result tomorrow, inshallah. So please check your Google Classroom. I will post it. The Google Classroom, you will get it from the Google Classroom with an extra file where I put the feedback. So check that file. That would be whatever your file name, it will be edited your file name, all right? So check that file and you can get the marks from that from your account. And please check that everything is fine, okay? And if there is any problem, you can discuss me during the class. Okay, we don't have class tomorrow, but you can ask me in the Google Classroom, okay, tomorrow. Because if you have any problem, that tomorrow is the last day. After that, you cannot ask any problem. Let's say, for example, I by mistake giving you wrong marks means the calculation may be wrong. So in that case, I didn't put the marks on it. If this kind of problem happened, then you can ask me in the Google Classroom. I will change it. Because after Friday, there is no way I can change it. So please check your Google Classroom, your answer script, and everything, that everything is fine. You're happy with it. And then you cannot say that, okay, why I'm getting 10, why I'm getting 15, not that one. The problem you might have that I didn't give the marks on any question, or maybe the total marks is not correct, whatever I have written on the answer script. Okay. All right. So I hope you have done the writing. So let me ask you. So the first one, let me write. So we have to write name and then offset. Name and offset, right? So all right, fine. So first one is the total. What is the offset of total?
0, sir.
0, correct. 0, correct. Next one is sum. What is the offset?
10, sir.
10. Correct. Next one is the name.
12, sir.
12.
12.
12.
Yes, sir.
Why 12?
So because the different
Because-
Shouldn't it be 30?
byte, and there is 3 character. So 1 byte, 1 into 3 is equal to 3 byte. So 12 plus 10 plus 12, 10 plus 3 byte is equal to. So the sum is 10.
Actually, sir.
11 and
Yeah, I will get all of your answer. Don't worry, one by one. Okay. Any other answer? So how do
Reallocate 2 by
13.
yeah, wait. So how do we know that which type of data we are using or how long it starts? For the first one, obviously this one will start from 0, right? The first one. And when 0 to 9, that means DT means define 10 bytes, right? So if define 10 bytes, that means the total variable will occupy from 0 to 9. That next variable, which is sum, right, start from 10.
10. Yes, sir.
So the sum next variable starts from 10.
10 to
Okay,
11.
good, no problem. But it starts from 10. So when it will end,
11.
it will end with 11 because 10
11.
and 11, we need 2 bytes, right? Because it's DW.
Yes, sir.
2
Yes,
bytes. So 10 and 11 is occupied. So the next variable will start from
12.
12.
12. So what is the next variable? Name.
Name.
That's why it should be 12, right?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Do you agree, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Good. So it's not 13.
Yes, sir.
All right. So next one is the student. So students now
50.
now calculate. The name have started from 12. So when we are going to finish this one?
14.
Sir, 14.
14.
So it will count. So it will count at 15, sir. Here.
15.
So the next variable, which is students, will start from
15, sir.
15.
15. Do you agree, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Sir.
That means because we have 3 characters here, HRC. By the way, this is my short name. So HRC. So each of the character requires 1 byte of space, memory space. So we have 3 bytes. That means it was started from 12. So 12, 13, 14. 3 of them are occupied. So the next variable, which is students, will start from 15. So offset value is 15. Very good. How about the next one? Message.
Starts from 195.
Sir, 195, sir.
195.
Okay. The question is, the variable student starts from 15, but we don't know how long the variable is. If we know how long the variable is, then it will get easy then when the next variable, which is message, will start. So it starts from 15. So how long this variable, how many bytes?
Sir,
180.
4 bytes and calculate with the 45. Multiple with the 45.
Oh.
So it will 180.
Let us make calculation. It is 45 multiplied by 4, right?
Yes, sir.
Multiplied by 4 is 180. Of course, so 180, it will be occupied 180. So you start from 15. 15,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes,
So that means if you add the 15, it should be 194th position, right? Until 194th position. So the next variable
Will be 195.
195, which is the next position. So do you agree, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now the message starts from 195, and this is the message. Do we need to calculate this, that how long it will occupy?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Not really, because there is no other variable after this, right? So if there is no variable after this, we don't need to calculate whatever is written here, because this is the last one. So your answer should be this variable. I hope you can see this variable, this table with the explanation of all the numbers. Fine? Any question?
No, sir.
Is this seen the offset value? Is this all of your numbers are same? If you make mistake, no problem. You can make mistake. Obviously, you should do mistake. You should learn from your mistake always. Then the mistake is good. So,
Sir,
yes.
I mistake on students. I calculated wrong. Sir, I don't know what does DD means, sir.
Because DD means define double word. Double word means two word. Each word is 2 byte. So double word means
4.
4 bytes, sir.
4 bytes. So DD means 4 bytes. If you have one variable which is DD type, that means you need 4 bytes to store that variable. So each of the student, we have 45 students. Each of the students require 4 bytes. So how many bytes is required for 45 students? So 45 multiplied by 4, right? Which is 180. That's why.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else? Anyone else? Very simple. Very, very simple if you just understand it in your way. So make sure that you write a proper explanation why. A proper explanation. There is a little bit of misunderstanding whenever you are trying to write this one, right? Instead of writing 12, we want to write 13 because the name variable has 13, right? So don't get confused. It is actually for the previous value. If you think about that way, when it started and when it will end, then it should not be a problem. So a little bit of confusion here. So make sure you should not have this confusion again. Any more question?
Sir,
Yes. Sure.
Sir, how it is message 19400? Sorry, 195.
I think you are disconnected, right?
Yes, sir.
Or you come late.
No, sir, I just disconnected.
Because we know that the student's variable starts from 15, right? Starts from 15, and we don't know when the student's variable will end. So let us calculate the DD type of the student, and we have 45 items. That means each of the students, which is 45 elements, will have 4 bytes. So if you multiply 45 multiplied by 4, it will be 180. That means the total student variable requires 180 bytes in the memory. So if you start from 15, when it will end 180. So if you just add it, it will be 194th. Until 194th position, this student variable will occupy in the memory, right? So when the next variable, that means this variable, message, when the next variable will start from
195.
195. That's why the message variable starts from 195. Do not think that we count this 195 from here. That is a mistake. Okay, we are not counting the offset value of the message from here. We actually count it from the previous variable, because the offset value means the starting position, not the total length. Okay, that's why, look, that's why the total offset is 0, because it is 10 bytes, but its offset is 0 because it is the starting position. We don't count from 1, generally we come from 0, yeah. We generally come from 0. What of the array? I hope you remember, whenever you start counting the array, you start from the 0, right? Yeah, it's similar that we're starting from 0 here as well. Whenever you start, we are going to write some code in the next position also to transfer to use the different position of the array. In that case, you also can see that we start using from 0 in this low-level language as well. Fine. If you understand this offset and how actually it works, it will be much easier for you to do the next level of coding as well. Whenever you want to access the array of the elements of the array in assembly language, because if you declare an array, for example, we have in this array, like student array, so you must be able to access all the positions. So in the next portion, we are going to see that how we are going to access all the positions, because it is not like we have a loop, but we are not going to use the loop at the moment. Okay, we are going to use the separate instruction to understand this very well. It will be very easier for you to write the code for those kind of things. Fine. So if any other question, remember I will give you this type of question. You have to write this with explanation. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, let us continue. Let me share the screen first. So now it is final symbol. Now let us start with the operands. I hope you know that whenever we know that what is the operands, right? What is the operands? Operands means if you want to add two numbers, let's say A plus B, which is the A and B, correct, and the operator is the plus sign, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is in the same way we also use these operands. So let me tell you one thing. I try to imagine in this way. I think we have told you yesterday, you have to imagine the way the processor and your system is working. So imagine in that way that you want to add two numbers. You have written in your exam that add one operands, comma, another operands, if it is two address machines. So let's consider we have two address machine, and you write add one variable name, comma, another variable name. So that is your instruction. So whenever you write this instruction into the assembly language, right? So you know that in assembly language, you have several parts. Where you have a data part, you have the code part. So the instructions you have written, it will be saved into the code. option in the memory, because we have a 6-segment register in the Pentium processor. We have 6 different types of registers for storing 6 active memory location. You remember? No. Very good. Congratulations. We forget everything. Let me remind you that we have 6 memory. We have 6 segments. This one. Yeah. So we have segment register. Why we need segment register? Because these segment registers store all the 6 active memory blocks currently, memory blocks which are currently active. And I hope you remember that your processor is actually not using your entire memory at the same time. They use 6 segments at the same time, any given time. Maybe in the next clock it will be another 6 segments. Next clock it will be another 6 segments. All right. So those 6 active memory location, all of the information will be stored here. If you remember about the protected memory architecture, protected mode memory architecture, is there we also have discussed this one, that we have separate table, right? Or those tables have all this information about which memory block is currently active, either it's a code segment or data segment or stack segment or any other extra segment. What are the length, what are the permission, everything, right? So think about this one. And then whenever we do coding, whenever we do, where are we? Yeah. So whenever you do coding, that you get processor get the code from the code segment, right? But whenever you write A and B, add A, comma B. So this is the code. But how we can identify the value of A and B? Because A and B, the value of A and B, these are the data. So this data is stored into the data segment, right? In the separate position. So the code is stored into code segment, and the value of those 2 data will be stored into the data segment. So the processor needs to go to those data segment to get the value of A and B, and then add the value and then store somewhere and or do something. So this is the way the process actually works. So based on the location, it's not only that it is stored into the memory. So it can be, the processor can get the data from 4 different locations. Remember this one. The processor can get the data, for example, the value of A and B. The processor can get the value of this A and B from 4 different locations. Possible locations. And according or based on these locations, we call them addressing mode. Okay, based on the location, we call them addressing mode. Different types of location, we call them different types of addressing mode. If you are using, if the processor gets the value from the register, we call them register addressing mode. If you get it from the main memory, we call them memory addressing mode. So based on 4. So let's see what are the 4 location where the processor can get the data. Obviously, first of all is the register, which is inside the processor. Here, the processor can get the data from the instruction itself. How? Instead of writing A and B, if you just write A, 70 instead of B, that means it is inside the code. You don't need to go to somewhere to find what is the value of B, because it's already inside the code. So that is one option in the instruction itself. 3rd option is the main memory, of course. And the 4th option is input output. We are not going to discuss about the last one because we might not have that much time. So don't worry about that one. So we are going to discuss the first 3 types here. Do you understand? So as according to this position, we have register addressing mode like this one, register addressing mode, immediate addressing mode. That means instead of writing the variable or location, we directly write the value here. That is called immediate addressing mode. We have 2 types of main memory addressing mode. They called memory addressing mode, which is using the main memory. Obviously, it is much slower. compared to the immediate and register. Register addressing mode is the fastest one because it is inside the processor. The processor doesn't need to go to the main memory and get the data because it is inside the processor of the register, right? So it is faster. Immediate addressing mode also the same thing. You don't need to go to somewhere else to find the data. It is inside the code segment. You don't need to go to the data segment to get the data. So that's why it is also very fast. But the direct addressing mode using our memory location. And this memory location is actually required just before you have using the offset value, right? Offset value and the initial value. So these are the values they have used to locate the memory and get the data. So this is called direct addressing mode. But in direct addressing mode, we have some problem. We are going to discuss that what will be the problem because we cannot access. If you have an array, this addressing mode is really not a good idea to use because it can only access to the first element of the array. It doesn't access to the rest of the elements, so it's a problem. So if you just have a single element, then it is fine. If you have only a single element, then the direct addressing mode is fine. So to solve the problem, we have another one, which is called indirect addressing mode. This is also using the main memory, but it will solve the problem that we cannot access the other location of the array. In indirect addressing mode, we can use the other position of the array or other elements of the array or the table. So these are the 4 addressing modes we have here. Okay? It's not too much, it's very simple. Very, very simple. Okay, if I just give me half an hour or maybe next class, we can actually finish this within very short time. I hope if you just a little bit attentive and listen to me and just stay with me and ask me question, I will show you how actually it works step by step. I hope you don't need to study at home if you are attentive in the class. Fine. So we don't have time today to start anything. It will be in the next week, first class. So I hope you know that according to the registry, your midterm exam will start from 10th of August, not 6th. 10th to 14th, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sir, when the Eid vacation start?
I really don't know because according to I think it is only the government vacation, which is start from 20th. 20, 21, 23, 24, 25. Sorry, 23, 24. From 25th, I think we have to start again. But before the 8th, I don't know. Maybe from 19th, 18, 19, we might have class. Because we only follow because in this pandemic, they just follow the government holiday. I guess I don't have anything, any update news from the registry, but I know that they just follow the government holiday. I hope maybe if there is any class, I think 19 will be the class, of course, because 21st is our Eid. So if there is a 19 class, don't worry, we will have very short classes. Don't worry. So we still have, because this week will be for the Eid vacation. And after that, we will have exactly 2 weeks to do our classes, and then we'll have exam, which is very good. We can do a lot of practice, we can do a lot of coding, and we can revise very well because the feedback you have given me yesterday, it is really shocking. So we need to do some practice because just listening is really not enough. So we will do some practice as well, like today. Fine. Any other question?
Sir, is there will be Viva in midterm?
According to the current situation, no. I guess because they didn't tell us any instruction. They just tell us that from 10 to 14. So 10 to 14 is a very short time. I hope it is not possible.
Sir?
Yes.
So I have a question about our COVID-19 vaccine.
Okay.
Did Varsity take any decision about this?
They have already asked you to submit a form, right?
No, sir, yet not.
No?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh. Yes, I have submitted 2 forms already and I got vaccinated. And I think some of you also submit the form, and I think you can get. Have you anyone got vaccine?
No, sir.
Okay, so the government already have 45 lakh vaccine. Another 65 lakh is coming in next month. So if you submit your form to the university, if you give your NID number and every other details, you will and you can. Now you can actually, I think you can go to the Shroka or that website and try again. Because when there was minimum 40, I'm not 40, so but still I registered and I get 95. But as a student, because if you give your NID card, NID number, then the government will add you into that database, although you are not 35. Do you understand? Because there are some exceptions. There are some exceptions. You are
Option for medical student and for hall student.
All the students, university student. All the university students, if the university send your NID to the government, like the public university, they have already sent 1 lakh or 2 lakhs of NID number of their students. So they will get vaccinated. All of the university, because the university asks you to submit a form, the Google form with your NID and every detail. So if you already submitted, the university will take those NID and send it to the government, and government will allow you to do the registration, although you are not 35. Or if you just go there, enter your NID, and let's see what happens. Keep trying, please. If you already submitted to the university,
but sir, many of us have done.
Many of you what didn't get the link. If okay, someone already got the Google link, right? Google Form link already. Some of you.
Yes, sir.
So share your form. So share it to your friends, please. Why you didn't do it? But it is like 2-3 months ago they have asked to do it.
Yes, sir.
So why did you miss it? It is your responsibility. It is your responsibility to submit the form, and so you must have problem. Anyway, you still have time, so please get the link from your friend and submit the form. Okay. Okay, this is the form, so you can get it. You can check this one. Fine. Okay, I think I have told you from a long ago that please get vaccinated. Please submit the form. Please submit the form. Some of the other students, they have already submitted and registered as well. I know many students who already registered, but not get vaccine, but registered already. Because you got the highest preference, the students, university students, you got the highest preference. Anyway, so you are section B or C?
C.
C. Okay, we have started at 110. All right, so CSC 197, section C, please respond. Shakil Ahmed, Mominur Rahman.
Present,